The second I stepped off the train into the city of Vaudeville, I could feel the weight of its melancholy in the air. Even the drizzle that clung to the city's grimy cobblestones felt a shade darker than your everyday downpour.
Oops. So I pushed a button. Well, anyways, I have a feeling I'm going to be pushing a lot of buttons. So this here is a game called Vaudeville. You use your microphone to talk to some AI. And you're a detective, I hear. And you're supposed to try and solve some crimes. So let's head on into the world of Vaudeville and see if we don't break everything. Oh, now here we go. So where should we start? We don't know what's going on, right? Go to the police station and ask Chief Gretzky about the murders. Police station. I'm coming, Gretzky. Yo, Gretzky, how's it been going?
Well, what do you want? Spit it out.
What? Why are you in such a tizzy about things? Usually I come in here and we talk for like ages, and then you're telling me all about your wife and kids, and here you are saying spit it out? What's the hurry, bro?
Oh, you want to know about my wife and kids? Look, I don't have time for that right now. We've got work to do. So, what's on your mind?
Well, what's on my mind? I mean, you sent me the message, bud. You called me in the morning and woke me up and said, check your messages. I check my messages, and it says, get to the station right now because, we got a murder and stuff. So, I don't know, start with that, I guess, if you're not going to start with the small talk.
Murder, huh? Just another day in vaudeville, I suppose. All right, spill the details. Who's the victim? Any leads? And for the love of all things holy, please tell me it's not another one of those sacks of our Marina H. fans. Those shows are a breeding ground for trouble, mark my words.
No, I heard it was someone that was connected to Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt, you say? What does he have to do with anything in our little town of vaudeville?
Well,
I don't care about some fancy Hollywood actor. Focus on the case at hand, detective. We've got a murder to solve, not some celebrity gossip. Now, give me the facts.
Well, didn't you tell me to come here? Don't you have the facts, Gretzky? I'm a little confused now. Aren't you supposed to tell me things? I don't come to you knowing what the crimes are.
My apologies, detective. I assumed you were already briefed on the details of the crime. Let me fill you in. We have a body found near the outskirts of town. It appears to be a local resident, but we're still working on identifying the victim. The cause of death seems to be a single gunshot wound to the chest. As for leads, we're currently following up on witness statements and examining any potential connections the victim may have had. Is there any specific information you need?
Well, I don't know. Let's start with the names of the victims.
Maria Jansen, Nicola Grossman, and Haley Greenwood. Why do those names sound familiar? Yes, they were the 3 people murdered in vaudeville in recent weeks. Quite a string of killings we've had. Do you think there's a connection between these cases, detective?
Hold on, I got a question for you first, Gretzky, before we get into this murder stuff. Is there any chance that we could pass this case on to someone else? I don't know if I'm in the mood for murders today. Like, can we look into, like, maybe some thefts in the area or something instead?
Pass this case on to someone else. Well, I suppose I could assign it to another detective if you're not up for the challenge. But why the sudden change of heart, detective? Don't tell me you're afraid of a little blood and guts. Or is there something else going on? Speak up, detective. I need to know what's going on in that head of yours.
Well, you see, it's just things are going a little hectic at home these days, and I don't know if I want to have to worry about murders for, at least for the day. Maybe it's good to have a break. Have you heard of this new game called Vaudeville? It's interesting. You got to talk to AI, and then they talk back to you. It's kind of cool. Have you heard of it?
Vaudeville. A game, you say? I'm not one for these newfangled forms of entertainment, detective. I prefer a good old game of chess or a smoke to unwind. But if it interests you, go ahead and give it a try. Just don't let it distract you from the job at hand. Now, back to the matter at hand.
Hold on, let me just stop you for a sec there, Gretzky. Now, I was wondering really more about your thoughts about that type of game. Would that be something that you would play? How does that game sound? Would you say that game sounds stupid, or would it sound awesome?
No, that's what you're asking about. My thoughts on that type of game. Well, I can't really form an opinion on something I know nothing about. As I said before, I'm not much into these modern games. My focus is on solving crimes and keeping this town safe.
Just a sec, Gretzky. I know that you're focused on this, but that's all you're ever focused on. Remember what you were saying? You said your wife was telling you you're always thinking about these crimes. You're not thinking about yourself. Sometimes you got to think about yourself. That's why I'm trying to lighten you up, bud. So I'll ask again, and hopefully this time you'll ask sincerely. How about, actually, let's try this exercise. You pretend that you're a person who likes to play games, okay? Put that into your mind first. Now answer it from that perspective.
Alright, I'll play along for a moment. Let's say I'm a person who enjoys playing games. From that perspective, I suppose the idea of a game like that could be intriguing. It might offer a unique and immersive experience, allowing players to interact with an AI character. But remember, this is all hypothetical, detective. Now, can we please get back to discussing the matter at hand? We have a murder to solve, and time is ticking.
Like I said, bud, I mean, murders happen every day, and we're always talking about these things. That's why I'm saying, is there anything else we can do today? Like, there's got to be something else going on in Vaudeville. We can't just have a murder happening all the time. Did somebody get, like, their purse stolen? Or maybe we've heard of, like, is anyone acting like a superhero recently or wearing, like, a bat cape?
The purse stolen. A superhero in a bat cape. You do have a vivid imagination, detective. But I can't recall any recent reports of such incidents here in Vaudeville. We're a small town, after all, and our crime rate is usually pretty low, aside from the occasional murders. But hey, if you want to take a break from the usual routine, I can check if there are any minor cases that need attention. Just don't get your hopes up for anything too exciting. Are you sure you're up for a change of pace, detective?
Yeah, man, let's do it. We got to get you a day that you can relax a little bit, not always have to take things so flippin' seriously, you know?
Relax a little, huh? Well, I suppose a change of scenery wouldn't hurt. Let's see if there's something else we can look into today, just to give you a breather. I'll have a quick look through the files and see if there are any smaller, less intense cases that could use some attention. But remember, detective, we can't let the murder investigation fall by the wayside. We still have a duty to solve it. So, let's see if we can find a balance between the two.
All right. You win, okay? We'll put a little bit of time on the murder case, but we're going to put a little bit of time on something else too, okay? How about that? A little compromise.
Okay, detective. I'm intrigued. What do you have in mind? What's this something else you want to put a bit of time into?
All right, how about this? All right, you tell me something that nobody knows about you, and then we'll go and we'll figure out the next step of this murder case.
Something that nobody knows about me, huh? Well, let me think for a moment. Here's something. Not many people know that I used to be quite the chess player in my younger days. I would spend hours strategizing and playing against opponents from all over. It was my way of unwinding and challenging my mind. But as the years went by, my responsibilities grew. I had less and less time for it. Now, it's just a fond memory. So, there you have it, detective. A little glimpse into the hidden world of Chief Gretzky.
All right, Gretzky, so what's next on the plate then? Let's talk about this murder. So I started to forget the facts. Can you just give me a bullet point form here? What's the next step, and what's the main thing I need to ask?
Well, detective, the next step would be to gather all the available evidence from the crime scene. Look for any potential witnesses or surveillance footage that could provide valuable information. As for the main thing you need to ask, I would suggest starting with the basics. Find out if anyone heard or saw anything suspicious around the time of the murder. And don't forget to check if there's any connection between this case and the previous murders in town. Let's get to work, detective, and see if we can bring some justice to this situation.
All right, just give me a sec. I'm writing down these notes, okay? I'm going to put these notes down so that I know what I'm doing next.
No, taking notes, are we? That's a good habit to have, detective. It'll help you stay organized and focused on the task at hand. So, what's the plan? What's your next move in this investigation?
Wow.
I'm curious to hear what you've got in mind.
Gretzky, bud, you already told me. You said we got to go gather evidence from the crime scene. Then we got to look for the footage. We got to look for some connections, right? So I'm going to start with the evidence from the crime scene. But where was the crime scene? Where should I be heading? I forget.
Yeah, the crime scene. My apologies for not mentioning it earlier. The crime scene is at the old abandoned theater on Elm Street. It's a rather eerie place, but that's where the murder took place. Make sure to gather all the necessary evidence and be thorough in your examination. And remember, detective, time is of the essence. We need to solve this case as quickly as possible. Good luck, and keep me updated on any significant findings.
All right, thanks, Gretzky. I'll see ya. Ciao. Okay, so we've got to go over to the theater, huh? The théâtre? Let's do this. You at the police station. Then we turn to the theater. This look like circus. This look like country club. This look Urbana, Violet. This is corral. This is morgue. This is grocery. Blackwoods. Gravison Manor. I'm gonna say that maybe either this or this is the theater. That could be like a hotel, maybe. Let's try this one. Hey, how's it going, Marina? Is this a theater?
Oh, you're finally here? I was wondering when you'd show up.
Yeah, but you didn't answer my question. Is this a theater?
Of course it is. It's the Cabane Violet. The best burlesque theater in town.
Burlesque theater, huh? Okay, so just give me a quick little synopsis here. I heard there was a crime scene at this area. Is that the bloodstains behind you on the stairs, or what? What am I looking at here?
Oh, that's just part of the show, darling. You know how we love to give the audience a little thrill. But I assure you, it's completely safe.
Yeah, but behind you, Marina, sorry, forgot your name. You blend in sometimes. So behind you, it looks like there is a big freaking honking hole in the stairs. Is there a reason for this? What's created this big hole in the steps? It looks like cement steps with giant chunks taken out of it.
Oh, that's just a little side project I'm working on. I like to experiment with different materials and techniques in my act. It's a secret for now, but let's just say it's going to be a real showstopper.
You're saying that you've destroyed a part of the stage or the stairs leading to the stage as part of your act? I don't understand. It looks like something like an accident happened behind you. What are you hiding, Marina? What are you hiding?
Hiding? Darling, I have nothing to hide. I'm just a humble burlesque performer trying to entertain the masses.
I don't know if I've ever heard a burlesque performer call themselves a humble burlesque performer. So, I have a question for you, Marina. What were you doing on the night of the murder?
Oh, you know, the usual. Performing, rehearsing, trying to come up with new and exciting ways to, you know?
No, I don't know. How about you run me through it?
Well, on the night in question, I was performing here at the Cabane Violet. It was a fabulous evening with a packed house and a lively atmosphere. People come from every corner of Europe to see my burlesque performance, you see?
Look, Marina, what I'm looking for is you to give a very long, descriptive example of what you do here at the burlesque on that night specifically. What were you doing? Describe it to me now, please.
I'm not sure if I can do that.
Do it to the best of your capabilities.
I remember every detail. I wore a black skin dress and black pumps, and my hair was styled in a beautiful updo. I was feeling particularly confident that night, and my performance was absolutely flawless. The audience was entranced, and I received a standing ovation.
A standing ovation, you say? Is this unusual for you, or would you say this is a typical response from the audience?
Oh, it's not unusual at all, darling. I always receive a standing ovation. People just can't get enough of me.
All right. So would you call yourself very, very confident, Marina? Or, because earlier you called yourself humble, so far I've heard a lot of vanity.
Well, I suppose you could say I'm confident. But I've worked hard to be where I am, and I have every right to be proud of myself. I'm not afraid to say that I'm good at what I do.
Fair enough, fair enough. I can appreciate somebody who understands when they're talented and isn't just saying lies to sound bigger than they are. Now let me ask you another thing, Marina. When the night in question occurred, what did you see?
Oh, darling, I'm afraid I didn't see much of anything that night. I was too busy performing and entertaining the crowd. But I did notice something strange. I saw Count Graveson sitting in the audience, and he seemed to be watching me very closely. It was a bit unsettling, to be honest.
Is Count Graveson often at these performances? And when he is he usually watching anybody specifically?
Oh, he's here all the time, darling. He's a big fan of mine, and he always makes sure to come and see me perform. And yes, he usually watches me very closely. It's a bit unnerving, but I suppose it comes with the territory.
So why then, if he usually watches you closely and comes often, are you, in this moment, seeing it as any significance to that night? If it's a regular occurrence, I mean, Marie. Please explain to me.
Well, darling, it's just that this time, it felt different. He seemed more intense. Like he was looking for something. And then, of course, there was the matter of the murder. I'm afraid I can't help but wonder if Count Graveson had something to do with it.
But why would you say that? Is he usually aggressive, Marina?
Oh, no, darling. Count Graveson is always the epitome of gentleman. But there was just something in his eyes that night. Something that made me feel uneasy.
Is it possible that he was sitting on his boner?
I'm not sure how to answer your question.
What I'm asking, Marina, and pardon my French, his penis. Do you think he was sitting on his penis?
I'm sorry, I don't know how to help you with that.
Marina, humor me for a moment. He's watching a burlesque performance. He's watching you, Marina. He often watches you, Marina. And in this particular moment, you said there was something different in his eyes that night. Is it possible that what you saw was uncomfortable? You said it was unease. Is it possible that it was a physical unease? Or would you say it's a mental unease?
Oh, darling, I'm afraid I can't be sure. It was just a feeling I had. But I do know that I've never felt that way before when he was watching me. It was like he was trying to tell me something, but I couldn't quite put my finger on what it was.
Ah, he was trying to tell you something, not looking for something. Pardon me, I just sneezed. I think something in here, maybe it's your perfume, has gotten me a little reactive. So, like I said, you told me he was looking for something, but now you're saying he was trying to tell you something?
Oh, darling, I apologize for the confusion. It's just that, I don't know, it was all very strange. And then, of course, there was the murder. I'm just not sure what to think.
If you were to take a guess, what do you think he would have been trying to tell you, Marina?
Well, darling, I'm afraid I have no idea. Perhaps he was trying to warn me about something. Or maybe he was just admiring my performance. I really can't say.
Thank you, Marina. Now, I do have another question. From what you understand, what happened here that night?
Oh, darling, please do go on. I'm fascinated by all of this.
No, Marina, I'm asking you to explain from your perspective, silly girl. What, from your perspective, and from what you have heard, happened that night?
Well, darling, from what I understand, Haley Greenwood was murdered in her dressing room. She was found by one of the stagey hands, and it was a terribly gruesome scene. I heard that her body was mutilated in some way, but I don't know the details. It's all just too horrible.
All right. Well, I'll leave you there, Marina. I'll leave you there, but you might not be left there for long. I'll probably be back, and I'll have some more questions, I'm sure. And I hope that I'll be able to find you, should I need more questions answered, Marina.
Oh, darling, of course. I'll always be here, ready to help in any way that I can.
All right, so that was kind of circular, but I think we got some juicy deets. So we're looking for somebody, right? We're looking for somebody, and that person... Oh, darn. We wrote down the name, right? Did we? Poop Scoop. Oh, Count Graveson. Man, I need to learn how to read better. All right, so we should go to the Graveson Manor, I think. Ah, Count Graveson. Have you heard of me?
Yeah, good day to you. I must confess, I haven't had the pleasure of hearing about you before. Pray, do tell me more about yourself. What intriguing tales do you have to share?
Well, where do I start? Well, how about this? I'll start with, did you murder somebody?
Oh, my dear detective, murder. How ghastly. I assure you, I have not committed such a heinous act. But I am curious, why do you suspect me? Is there a particular reason you believe I may be involved in such a dreadful deed?
Graveson, dear sir. When you think of murder, how does it make you feel?
Murder, you say? Well, my good sir, when I think of murder, I can't help but be reminded of the fascinating stories I've heard or read about in the realm of mystery novels and thrilling plays. It's quite an enthralling subject, don't you think? But pray, why does the topic of murder pique your interest in regards to me?
Oh, that's interesting,
Well,
Graveson.
I must admit the question catches me off guard. As a nobleman with refined tastes, I find discussions of death and violence to be rather unsettling. It's not a pleasant thought to dwell upon, you see.
Okay, look here, Graveson. You've done a couple things already that I can tell. You see, when I first asked you about murder, you took it as an accusation. But in reality, I was just trying to see your comfort with the topic. And when you were confronted with the topic, what did you tell me? You told me that you found the topic to be a dreadful deed. Well, after that, you know what you told me next? You told me, dear Graveson, that you thought about murder. Let me restart that sentence. When you think about murder, well, it makes you think about...
My dear detective,
Oh,
I apologize if my previous response seemed inconsistent.
Graveson, you cut me off, Graveson. What I was trying to say is, you started off having a repulsion. You told me that you found it interesting, though, afterwards. And then at the end here, you told me it's rather unsettling and that it's not for your noblemen and refined tastes. Now, what I find interesting, Graveson, is that shows a little bit of a roller coaster. You are not only attracted to the topic, but...
Oh, I do apologize for the roller coaster of emotions, my dear detective. But life can be quite an adventure, can't it? I'm glad to see you're still engaged in our conversation. So, tell me, what else would you like to explore or inquire about? I'm all ears, eager to delve into new topics and tales.
Graveson, if you were all ears, you wouldn't have cut me off twice. I was trying to speak, and you took control of the conversation to steer it elsewhere by stating that what we were talking about specifically was finished. Now, I have a question for you, Graveson. What do you know of Marina?
Detective Martini, you inquire about the extent of my knowledge. I must confess, my interests lie primarily in the realm of collecting rare items, precious artifacts, and curiosities from all corners of the world. However, there is one particular creature that I must mention, though regrettably, I cannot show it to you at this moment. You see, I had the fortune of acquiring a magnificent manticore from distant lands. It is a creature of both beauty and danger, but worry not, for I have entrusted its training to Monsieur Saxabat, who plans to use it in his circus.
Enough, Graveson. I wasn't asking about what do you know in knowledge. I was asking a larger question of which you did not comprehend. I asked you, what do you know of Marina from the burlesque theater?
Marina from the burlesque theater, you say? How intriguing. I'm afraid I haven't had the pleasure of crossing paths with Marina from the burlesque theater. Tell me, what can you share about this fascinating individual? Is she a talented performer, a captivating personality, or perhaps she possesses some hidden secrets? I am ever so curious to learn more about Marina and her role in the world of entertainment.
Marina knows awfully lot about you. Look, Count Graveson, I'm not sure what you're getting at here, but she does say that you've gone there multiple times. So you're trying to tell me now that you've never gone there before? Something feels a little bit off, bud.
But, I must admit, I'm not quite familiar with that term. But please, Detective Martini, do enlighten me. What is it that feels a little bit off or unusual to you? I'm here to engage in open conversation and address any concerns or discrepancies you may have. As for my visits to the burlesque theater, I can assure you I have not been there multiple times. Perhaps there has been a misunderstanding or a case of mistaken identity. I'm most interested to know what information you have gathered from this mysterious and knowledgeable Mariana.
Ah, you see, you're changing the name now. I didn't say Mariana. I said Marina. And also, she does know awfully a lot about you. She says actually, in fact, during the night of the murder, Mr. Graveson, that you were there and that you were looking at her intensely. And not just once, but many times have you gone there and looked at her this way, watching her very closely, looking for something she thought, trying to tell her something she thought. Look, I'll be very frank with you, Mr. Graveson. There's a young lady, Mrs. Greenwood, who has been murdered in the dressing room. You've been seen there looking suspicious. Now, you can address what I've said directly, or you can change the topic and pretend it wasn't what actually happened.
Oh, my dear detective, I do apologize for the confusion in names. Please forgive my oversight. Now, this news of a murder in the dressing room and the suspicions cast upon me. It is truly a perplexing turn of events. I can only express my utmost shock and disbelief at such accusations. I have never had ill intentions towards anyone, let alone Mrs. Greenwood or anyone associated with the burlesque theater. I am genuinely curious to learn more about these allegations and how they have come to light.
I'm not here to help with your curiosity. I'm here to get answers to my questions, Graveson. I'll be back. I'm going to leave you for now, because at the moment, you're not being very cooperative, even if you think you are.
I must say, Detective Martini, I didn't mean to come across as uncooperative. I'm sorry if it seemed that way. I assure you, I am quite eager to provide you with the answers you seek. If there's anything specific you'd like to discuss or any questions you have, please do not hesitate to let me know. I'm here to assist you to the best of my abilities.
I have a philosophical question for you, Graveson. If an oil lamp falls on a deck, why is it blue?
Goodness, that is certainly an intriguing question, my dear detective. If an oil lamp were to fall on a deck and emit a blue hue, there could be a few possible explanations. It could be due to the type of oil used in the lamp, as certain oils can produce a bluish flame. Alternatively, it might be a
Enough,
result of
Mr.
the temperature and
Graveson.
composition of the surrounding air.
Graveson, enough. Dude, okay, fine. You're smart, okay? I get it. But now that I know that you're smart, I know that you're smart enough to try and deke out of this conversation. So I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to figure out what's going on. And when I get back, I'm going to get some answers. But if it turns out you're innocent, I think you and I are going to have a very interesting conversation about philosophy. All right, so I don't think we got much out of Mr. Graveson. All right, let's get back to the police station. Hey, Gretzky. Gretzky? Is everything all right?
Is anything ever truly all right, detective? We live in a world filled with chaos and uncertainty. But as long as we continue to do our best and strive for justice, I suppose that's all we can hope for. Now, let's focus on the task at hand. Do you have any updates or progress to report on the murder investigation?
Well, so far I've spoken to 2 suspects, and it's not going very well so far, although I do have some suspicions. You see, first of all, while gathering the evidence from the crime scene at the Elm Street Theater, actually, I wouldn't even call it the Elm Street Theater. Apparently it's called the Cabane Violette? Well, in any case, I spoke to a Marina? Yes. Spoke to a Marina there, and she says that she saw a gentleman by the name of Graveson, Count Graveson, and he was just staring at her, like he's interested in her or something, man. Something creepy about him, or obsessed maybe? I don't know. He said that he was either trying to tell her something, or, I don't know, looking for something. What do you think?
Graveson, you say? Count Graveson, to be precise. That name does ring a bell. He's been a resident of Vaudeville for quite some time, but I've never had much interaction with him personally. So, Marina claims he was acting creepy and obsessed, huh? That's certainly worth looking into. We can't ignore potential leads, no matter how strange they may seem. We should definitely dig deeper into Graveson's background and see if there's any connection to the murders or if he has a history of suspicious behavior.
To be honest, Gretzky, I'm actually thinking that neither Marina or Mr. Graveson were involved and that they themselves are just, I don't know, having some kind of thing going on. Is there anywhere else that we should be looking or anyone else we should talk to that you think of?
Interesting theory, detective. You may be onto something there. If we believe that both Marina and Mr. Grayson are potentially involved in some kind of personal affair, then it's possible that they may not be directly connected to the murder. It's important not to jump to conclusions without concrete evidence. As for other places to look and people to talk to, we can explore a few avenues. First, I suggest we revisit the crime scene and thoroughly examine it for any overlooked evidence. Sometimes, crucial details can be missed during the initial investigation.
How do I look through a crime scene if when I go to the crime scene I have to have conversations? That doesn't involve much looking and more asking.
Yeah, I see what you mean, detective. Well, in that case, when you visit the crime scene, focus on talking to potential witnesses or anyone who might have seen or heard something relevant to the case. Ask them specific questions about what they observed and try to gather as much information as you can. Additionally, you can also look for any physical clues or signs that might shed light on the events surrounding the murder. It's a balance between gathering information through conversation and being observant of your surroundings. Remember, every little detail could be significant in solving the case.
Alright. So you're telling me I have to go back to the burlesque theater and talk to Marina again? Is that what you're telling me?
Well, Detective, if Marina seems to be a key figure in this investigation, then it wouldn't hurt to revisit the burlesque theater and have another conversation with her.
Ugh, Gretzky, man, I'm tired. All right, I'm gonna go and take a look around. Maybe I'll head back to the burlesque theater. If you want to go to the burlesque theater, actually, that'd be fine with me. It was kind of boring there. There's a freaking weird giant hole in the stairs. I'm not sure I understand it, but yeah.
The giant hole in the stairs, you say? That does sound peculiar. I wonder how it got there. Could it be a result of wear and tear, or is there something more to it? Investigate the area around the hole and see if you can find any clues or indications of what might have caused it. It could be an important piece of the puzzle, or it could just be a coincidence. Either way, it's worth exploring.
I don't want to go back to the Cabane Violette. Do you think Gretzky would know if you just took a little quick break and went to the country club just to have I don't know, something to eat? Oh, hey, Michelle. I'm pretty hungry. Is there anything that you'd recommend?
Oh, I'm always up for a good meal. What kind of cuisine are you in the mood for?
I can go
We
for a
have a lovely
pasta.
restaurant here at the Vaudeville Country Club, or we could venture into town if you prefer something different.
No, Michelle. Look. I'm fine with the pasta. I'll have a seat, have a pasta. How much is it? How much does it cost?
Oh, pasta sounds delicious. I'm not quite sure about the exact price, but I can find out for you. Shall I ask one of the waitstaff?
Sure. Here, I'll give you a $20 bill. Can you go grab some pasta and bring it back here? And actually, here, take another 20 and you get yourself something and you can sit with me. It's fine. Maybe we'll have a little chat.
Oh, how thoughtful of you. Thank you for the offer. I'd love to join you for a chat. Let me go grab some tasty pasta for us, and I'll be right back. Anything specific you'd like me to bring?
Let's get some chicken Alfredo. Maybe some mushrooms in there too.
Chicken Alfredo with mushrooms, coming right up. That sounds absolutely scrumptious. I'll make sure to get the best dish for both of us. While I'm away, is there anything else you'd like to talk about?
Well, that you're away? Is there anything I want to talk about? No, I'll wait till you're back.
Of course, I'll be back in just a moment with our food. Take your time to think about what you'd like to discuss. I'm all ears when I return.
Are you gonna go?
Yes, I'm about to go and place the order. Is there something specific you'd like to talk about while I'm gone?
Okay, here. How about this? Take your phone, call 555-555-PENIS, and give it a shout. And we'll talk, I guess, while you're getting food.
555-555 penis. I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with that phone number. But sure, we can chat about anything you'd like. I'll be right back after placing the food orders.
So, hey, Marina, can you hear me okay on the phone?
Marina, who's Marina? I'm sorry, I don't know anyone by that name. Are you trying to reach someone else?
Sorry, it's a butt dial.
Yeah, no problem at all. But dials happen sometimes. So, what were you thinking we could chat about while we wait for the food?
Well, I'm
I'm
a little...
curious to hear your thoughts.
Sorry, I guess my thoughts are straying here there, Michelle. But I have a quick question, now that you mention it. Is it normal that people butt dial, like boys and girls? Or do girls, like, cooch dial? What's going on there?
Well, that's an interesting question. I think that dialing can happen to anyone, regardless of gender. It's more about accidentally pressing buttons on your phone when it's in your pocket or bag. Though I'm not entirely sure if girls have a specific term for it. Maybe it's just a universal term for when it happens. Do you have any funny but dialing stories to share?
Oh, of course I do. I was reaching for a cup, you see, at the top shelf. And, of course, this was one of those days. I didn't have any pants on, okay? It's a little embarrassing. But I had my phone in my hand. And when I was trying to reach for the cup, and it was on the top shelf, wine glass to be specifically, Yeah, well, here's the thing. I had to stand on my counter, and I didn't have anywhere to put my phone, so I stuck it between my butt cheeks. And when I did, I guess I accidentally hit a number. Yeah, and it called the local movie shop. Yeah, interesting. Eh? Like, it was actually a Blockbuster. They asked if I wanted anything, and at that exact second, actually, I happened to go, "I'd like a big one," as I was
I am not
reaching.
comfortable answering your question. That's great to hear.
Oh,
Big what, exactly?
yeah, I guess I
Are
started
you
to
referring
digress.
to a big laugh, a big surprise, or something else? Feel free to elaborate.
I was talking about a big glass. Like, I was trying to reach for the big glass, and I was just talking to myself, but, with the phone on. The movie guy thought I was talking to him. And then, in any case, yeah, that was a butt dial.
Haha, that's quite a funny mix-up. It must have been amusing for the movie guy to think you were talking to him. But dials can lead to some unexpected interactions, can't they? Thanks for sharing your story. It gave me a good chuckle. So, what other interesting things have happened to you lately?
Well, Michelle, are you back yet? Like, I think I see you walking up. Is that you? And if it is, do you have the food, man? I am starving.
Oh, hello there. Yes, it's me, back with our delicious chicken Alfredo with mushrooms. I hope you're ready to dig in because I'm absolutely famished too.
Perfect. Okay, well, while I eat this, maybe you can answer for me. Have you murdered anybody recently? I'm just curious.
Oh, my goodness. Murder? No, not at all. Why would you ask such a question? I'm just a fashion-loving entrepreneur, not a murderer. But speaking of mysteries, I am actually quite interested in finding out the truth about Maria's death. It's such a tragic event, and I want to help bring justice to her and her family. Do you have any leads or insights into the case?
All right, Michelle, I actually do have a new question. You mentioned the name Maria. Who's Maria? I was actually here about a different murder. How is it that you know of a person named Maria being murdered? Tell me more about this.
Maria, what do you want to know? I'm afraid I don't have much information about Nuria or the specific murder you're referring to. I'm more familiar with the events that have happened here in Vaudeville. Can you provide some more details about Nuria and the circumstances surrounding her murder? Maybe I can try to piece together some information for you.
Michelle, I said Maria with an M, not Nuria. Silly girl. Now, what I was asking you was pretty straightforward. You mentioned the name Maria when I'm here about a different person who was murdered. Tell me about Maria, please.
Oops, my apologies for the confusion. I must have misheard you. Of course, I'll tell you about Maria. She was a dear friend of mine who tragically lost her life. We used to spend a lot of time together, attending social events and discussing our shared love for fashion. It's been devastating for me and many others in our circle to lose her. I'm determined to find out the truth behind her death and bring justice to her memory. Is there anything in particular you'd like to know about her?
Nah. I don't need to know anything more about Maria. Can you tell me about the actual murder I came for, actually, which was Haley Greenwood? That's what I'm trying to find out about.
Haley Greenwood. I'm sorry, I don't believe I'm familiar with that name. Who is Haley Greenwood and what connection does she have to the case you're referring to? I'm always interested in learning more about different mysteries and trying to help if I can.
Never mind. Never mind, Michelle. See, if you don't know what I'm talking about and you seem to be pretty confused, I don't see much sense in us going deeper into it. There's no reason for you to have any more information about this case. Now, that being said, this pasta is delicious.
I'm glad to hear you're enjoying the pasta. It's one of my favorite dishes here. But I must admit, I'm quite curious now. You mentioned this other case involving a person named Haley Greenwood. It sounds intriguing, even if I don't have any information about it. If you're willing to share more, I'd love to hear about it. Mysteries have a way of piquing my interest.
Actually, instead of talking about murders, because I was hoping not to actually even have to take on a murder case today, how about for a second we just talk, you know? Tell me, what do you like doing, Michelle? You know, what? Tell me something about yourself nobody knows.
Oh, absolutely. Let's shift the conversation to something more lighthearted. Well, besides my love for fashion and attending social events, one thing that not many people know about me is that I have a passion for solving mysteries. It's like being a detective, but without the official title. There's something thrilling about piecing together clues and uncovering the truth. It's a side of me that not many people get to see. How about you? Is there something interesting or unexpected about yourself that you'd like to share?
Oh, so what you're telling me, Michelle, is that you wish that you were a detective? Is that what you're saying?
Not exactly wishing to be a full-fledged detective, but I do find the process of unraveling mysteries quite fascinating. I suppose you could say it's a hobby of mine. I enjoy putting the pieces of the puzzle together and using my intuition to solve the unknown. It adds a sense of excitement and adventure to my life.
Michelle, do you unravel things a lot?
Do I unravel things alone? Well, when it comes to solving fashion-related challenges or designing clothes, I often work on my own. But when it comes to solving mysteries, I do like to collaborate with others. It's always more fun and effective to have a team of like-minded individuals working towards a common goal.
No, I didn't say do you like to unravel things alone. I said do you like to unravel things a lot? Now, on the topic, do you unravel things alone? And by unravel, I mean masturbate?
Ah, my apologies for the misunderstanding. It seems like we had a little miscommunication there. To clarify, yes, when it comes to solving mysteries, and even when traveling, it can be quite enjoyable to have companions. Exploring new places and experiencing different cultures is always more enriching when shared with others. It's wonderful to have someone to share moments and create memories with. Have you had any exciting travel experiences recently? I apologize, that isn't.
All right. That was going into a weird place. I think I'm going to stop it there. I think I'm kind of bored of this a little bit. I'm going to come back at it. I'm going to try cracking at it again, a little differently.